Thank you very much, and you all just nearly made me cry. Thank you so much, that was lovely. Ladies and gentlemen, we are delighted to be invited to come here to the naming and dedication of this Shannon class lifeboat. It's a wonderful thing for us to be able to do. Our father, Christopher Harris, and I'm going to admit my own boo-boo here, I put 1939 as his year of birth. It was 1932. So sorry, your programme's wrong and it's all down to me, but I'll be holding an inquest. Christopher Harris was born at the end of March in 1932. He had a very firm idea about what he wanted to do, and that was to travel. Now, I don't know where this came from. As a child, like many children his age, he was evacuated during the war. But he was very lucky, having said that, to live with his aunt on a farm down in Devon. On a completely different track, he then went on to qualify as an accountant. And he married, and at the age of 22, he took his new wife and his new career out to Trinidad, where his oldest child, my sister here, Jill, was born. They returned to England, settled in Surrey, and his two further children, myself, and our brother Richard, who we sadly lost 8 years ago, arrived. But the itch for him to travel didn't go away. He went to live in Zambia for a while, and afterwards he worked in Egypt, Czechoslovakia and Germany, and probably many more places, knowing him, that I can't remember, and I don't know if Jill can. And then, of course, when he retired, he continued to travel for pleasure. Underneath all this, he very much cared about looking after others, especially, I think, the underdogs. And we think he very much cared as well about people who put themselves at risk, who really put themselves out there, and very dedicated people. And that is why we think he wanted to buy this lifeboat, because that just sums it up. We think this care and support of others influenced his desire to support the staff and volunteers of RNLI, not only in their mission, but also in their everyday work, about which we learned a lot of last night, and the technical stuff that went on and the training you have to do, and the welfare as well. Now, he may not have had any connections with the sea. I couldn't think of any. I don't know if you could, Jill. But what Chris did have was that huge admiration for people who took on dangerous missions, so putting themselves at risk. Now, I see that there was quite a dangerous rescue that went on at Omi Island last year, where you did 2 trips in poor October conditions and in heavy rain. Chris would have been hugely respectful of this, and we'd be thrilled to know that the Sir Christopher is already in action. There are many of you here whom we met last night. You made us so welcome, it was so kind of you, and I think this is all about the people who work on the lifeboats, the people on the front line putting themselves at risk, and the people in the background dealing with the ops job, all the fundraising staff, which we know is an incredibly difficult job. The people putting them outside there, and I'd love to reel off your names, but thankfully your names are on the back of the programme, so they won't go forgotten. You'll always be on there. And for those of us here representing Chris, we also have huge admiration for what it is you do. We'd like to thank you all so much for doing what you do, and including, of course, for making us feel so welcome here. You live in a beautiful part of the country. And thank you so much. We're very grateful. Thank you.